Hey, it's Jamie Moore here with FAI HQ in Dublin with the Ireland goalkeeper, and he's here, of course, to tell us about these massive upcoming games in the Euro 2020 qualifiers, two-way games for Ireland, make or break really, and also the Darren Randolph Goalkeeping Academy, which its main hub is here in the National Sports Campus. If you haven't seen it, the indoor dome is absolutely out of this world, and lots of the young keepers in Dublin and across the country are training with Darren's Academy. So Darren, thanks for having a chat. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
So firstly, talk to us about your academy, and I know you're in the UK, but you're over and back, and you have a couple of business partners here who are working on it with you, and you're trying to help the next generation of young Irish goalkeepers.
Yeah, I'm obviously playing in the UK, so I try and get back as often as I can. It's always been kind of at the back of my mind to do a bit of coaching, or like I said, actually now having the academy, and just. As you alluded to there in the question, work with or try and develop keepers for the future. The game's obviously changing and developing all the time. So as you see now, we go through and name some of the young keepers coming through. It's becoming more and more probably how good people can be with their feet, maybe before they look at the goalkeeping. But if you can try and tie everything into one and get the fundamentals, from an early age, who knows, what keepers we can produce in the future. Yeah,
and you held an open session here in Abbottstown maybe 6 weeks ago at this stage, and over 500 kids were there. You had to get almost a security escort to leave because there was so much hysteria around you, and that probably shows, just how much young goalkeepers look up to you and want to be you, basically. And for you to have this academy, I'm sure is something you're very proud of, given the numbers you saw that day who came for a free look and a free session to go and see what it's all about.
To have that many people turn up, I think that day as well, the weather was terrible that day as well. So still to have that many people turn up, I suppose just shows the appetite that is there. Out of all those kids who showed up, who's to say that one of them won't be in goals in the future for the Irish team.
Yeah, and we saw last week that Keevan Kelleher made his first start for Liverpool. You've got Gavin Bazunu, who's away at Man City. Another goalkeeper called Brian Maher with the Irish 19s has done really well. And then you go down, and with the League of Ireland now starting at 13 here in this country, the young boys who are still here, there seems to be a real, outlook of very good young keepers that are coming up to hopefully in years and years and years do what you've done.
Yeah, you mentioned a few of the younger boys there, and even in the you got Kieran O'Hara, and you got Mark Travers as well, two other young keepers. So the talent's definitely there. It's exciting times, have I suppose that many young up and coming goalkeepers. It's only going to be good for the country in the future. So they're all starting out on their professional careers. So it'll be interesting, to see how it all pans out for them.
And there's been a massive change in how goalkeepers are coached. You mentioned it earlier on, apart from maybe being much more involved with the outfielders in certain parts of training, whether that be, playing out from the back or whatever it might be too. But also the work you do individually with your goalkeeping coach, and I know you're trying to do that in the academy too, is give each goalkeeper specific, help and training for exactly what they need, which I'm sure when you were a bit younger, it was just a goalkeeping coach or a parent whacking balls at a keeper. It's totally changed now.
Yeah, as I said, when I was younger, it was a parent or an assistant coach that would, pull me to one side and do the normal volleys, half volleys, I'll just take shots at you. And then, there was no playing out from the back. Even when I was in, at the, in my academy days when I was younger, there wasn't even teams then that played out. Everybody kicked along, the old, if I put the ball on the right side of the 6-yard box, I'm kicking on the right side. That's how it was. But it's moved on so much from when I was in the academy. It's more and more now about playing out from the back, and using some teams using a goalkeeper as an extra kind of outfield player. So the game's definitely evolved, and it will keep doing so. So I think now it is more and more important for goalkeepers to be comfortable with the ball at their feet. Some more so than others, but I guess the younger you get started, then the better it will be, as you progress in your career.
Now, speaking of playing out from the back, I'm sure that night in the Aviva Stadium, the Germany game, your long ball to Shane Long, that goal, you were happy you didn't play out from the back that night, and you'd come on for Shay Given. And we were just saying before we started the chat, I was actually presenting FAI Stadium TV that night for the first time, and I've never felt a stadium rock as much as it rocked then, and I actually got goosebumps that night, and it was just incredible. What was that night like for you, and how early after you kicked the ball did you think this has a chance for Shane to get on it? And then he went and obviously did the magic.
Look, like thinking back to it now, I remember getting a pass back from, I think it might have been David Myler, I think. And I remember just seeing a white jersey close me down. So in my head I was thinking, just get it onto your right foot, and then just get it clear on the right side, because I knew we had Shane and Jonathan Walters on our right side. So obviously managed to get the ball out of my feet. I had a quick look up. I was like, right, I roughly know where this is going to go, and then I just tried to kick obviously as hard as I could. Then probably a split second later I looked up, and I was like looking, I was thinking, all right, it's out of danger, that's good. And then, like I said, next minute it's bouncing over everyone, and Longie's through. I'm thinking, go on, go on. Then it goes, obviously he went on and he scored, and as you said, like the noise, the atmosphere that night was unbelievable. I haven't been involved in anything since at the Aviva since that night. Obviously going on to play in the Euros, you know, that's a whole different kind of atmosphere and different kind of highlight. But for to come on in that game against the world, they were the world champions then, to kind of play a role in that goal is something very, very special.
Yeah, I had Shay Given with me in studio last year about his autobiography, and we were talking about, you know, the end of his years with Ireland and that night and his own memories of it, and given that he was a senior goalkeeper and he got injured that night, and I suppose the luck, if that's the right word, of him getting injured, even though, you know, it's not a nice thing to say for you to get in and you haven't looked back since, but to be able to have come in, done so well, kicked that ball to get that assist, and have been in the team ever since is something, again, you're looking at going, well, if Shay hadn't got that little, what would have happened like?
Exactly. It's something that's gone through my head, you know, quite a few times since then. You know, they always say you do need a bit of luck. Obviously it was bad luck on Shay's part. You don't want to see anyone get injured, and I'm not the type of person to wish an injury on someone for me to get my chance. But at the same time, it's that probably bit of luck that I got to actually play that night and be a part, and you know, been lucky enough to have been playing ever since. And
ever since is right, and in the middle of a new campaign now to try and make it to Euro 2020. I was at a presentation earlier on in Abbottstown for the launch of the Colleges League, and they were asking again for volunteers to come and work with 4 games in Dublin, 2 of which would be Ireland games if we qualify. We've made a very good start to the campaign, 3 games left, 2 away games, Georgia and Switzerland to come, starting on Thursday. What's your thoughts on those? I'm sure you're all very excited to get going again, despite the reported defensive crisis.
Yeah, always. Not just me, but you'll go through all the lads. Like, we love coming away for international breaks and meeting up and getting together. You know, we have a laugh. Obviously also helps when things are going well on the pitch. Currently in a great position, but we got, you know, 3 tough games, group defining games, obviously. You know, injuries happen in football, and that's obviously why you pick the squads that you pick, or why you have the squads that you have. And as you spoke about, you know, me getting a bit of luck, could this be someone else's chance, or the bit of luck they need to step in and take the chance? And we won't know until Mick McCarthy names the team on Thursday night, but if Shane Duffy doesn't make it, or Richie Keogh doesn't make it, or Seamus Coleman, or whoever it might be in that defensive area of the pitch, does that for you add any extra importance for your own role, given you are the number 1 senior goalkeeper, and maybe, you know, that back 5 that has been so consistent, or certainly, you know, those 3 have been so consistently in the team, that there might be a change in front of you that you might have to, you know, just lift your performance a little bit? I think, like I said, being one of the more senior players in the squad, you get having been used to this probably settle back 4, there will be some changes. So yeah, I suppose I'll take it upon myself to try and be more of a leader, or take more on myself, even if it's just trying to organise people. I think as a senior player, that's kind of something that's put on your shoulders anyway. It's expected of you if you're an experienced player. That for in tough times you kind of take more responsibility and try help out some of the younger boys.
This match against Georgia away, fans and media to a certain extent will look at it and go, it's Ireland against Georgia, Ireland should win the match. How difficult are these type of away games? We saw the first game in Gibraltar with the wind and with the aeroplanes and how difficult that became in the end. And for you guys playing in the matches themselves against these type of nations, how difficult are they, given everybody says, sure, you have to go and win that?
Yeah, so it's a lose-lose situation, as I like to call it. Like you alluded to the Gibraltar game. On paper, everyone looking, we'll take 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But then we end up winning 1-0. We had obviously a few chances. It could have ended up being 4 or 5, but it only ended up being 1. And the lads only scraped through. But even then, travelling away to a team like Georgia, very good technical side, capable of keeping the ball. We saw that in Dublin. We've faced them a few times over the last few years. Technically, very good team. Difficult to break down. Not an easy place to go, as you can see from probably it was Denmark that went there and ended up drawing the game. Again, people before would have thought from the outside, Denmark go there, win easy. It's not always the case in international football. It's they're a very good technical team. It's historically a tough place to go. So we'll obviously need to be at it and on the ball.
And as well, the last game of the campaign is going to be at home to Denmark too. We've got the 2 away games first. Is there a real sense among the group, I'm sure there is, of just the importance but also the opportunity, given that there are going to be 2 Ireland games here if we make it, of how big these 3 games could be, given the hard work you've done in the first 5 to put yourselves in the position that you are in now, but knowing, I suppose, how difficult these 3 will be with the reward at the end if you do manage to get there?
It's hard to not think about the what ifs and, like I said, the rewards of actually having 2 games in Dublin if you qualify. For the lads that have been or that went to France and that were involved, to be involved in something like that, and also having 2 games, in Dublin would be something huge. And I only wish, that everyone that's involved now actually got to experience the Euros, because people that were there can speak about it and we can talk a good game and say how good it was, but you don't probably fully understand until you're there. And we're in a great position, so I really hope we can do that, and then you're able to experience, as you had 2 games in the Euros at home.
And just lastly on that and what it feels like as a player to do it, I was lucky enough to work at Euro 2012 in Poland and 2016 in France and be at all of the games and been at every Ireland home game working for a number of years, and we mentioned that match against Germany. But for you guys as the players to be able to achieve those results and those moments and the qualification for tournaments, I know you haven't been involved in all of them, but that sense of what you're doing for your country and the connection you guys have with the fans. I remember I was just behind the families when Robbie Brady scored the header against Italy, and I'm coming over to his brother, and just being so close to see, my God, this means so much to those guys. And I'm sure for you as well, that the amount of thousands of football fans that want you guys to do it.
Yeah, and we got a certain, going back to France, we got to see only clips from social media of what it meant to the fans and everything else. So you see a totally different side if you're a player to what the fans experience. But we know how passionate the fans are and what it would mean if we were to get there. And then we also know how good the support would be if we were able to qualify and get 2 games at home in Dublin.
And that's the kind of the outside noise of the fans supporting, but there's also, sometimes people are a little bit unhappy with the style of play or the Mick McCarthy, Stephen Kenny succession plan or what's going to happen. As a footballer, and you're on social media and you're very active on it, do you listen or watch or care what anybody kind of thinks or says about that side of things? Because lots of players say, I don't see it, but you guys now, you do see it because you're on it. You see, you might not want to read it, but sometimes you do see it and hear it. Like,
you see and hear everything nowadays on social media. Most players are on there. So, but again, it comes with the job. People have their opinions. You can't stop people from, saying what they want to say. It's just up to you whether whether you listen to it or not. Me personally, not interested. It doesn't affect me going on the pitch and playing. People may moan about the whatever you say about style of play or whatever the future plans are, or whatever else. If we qualify, no one cares about style of play. We've qualified. Future plans, they're not here yet, so they don't. For me, they're irrelevant. You got to focus on what you can control and what you can affect, which is the here and now. So for me personally, you just got to try and block it all out, and just get on with your job. And
very lastly, has Robbie Keane scored any goals on you in training with Ireland or Middlesbrough in the last while? Because I do see him with the training bib on the odd time, and he's Ireland's top goal scorer, so I'm sure he can still whack the odd one in.
He joins in. He joins in well as often as he can. I think he's struggling with his ankle and hips now, but he joins in whenever he can. Still, probably the best player in training. But I think so far I can honestly, hand on heart, I can't remember him scoring. Although I always try and pick to be on his team. So, but again, you can ask him if he remembers a goal he scored, then so be it. But I can't remember one so far.
Great stuff. Well, hopefully you can keep the record going for Ireland in these 3 games coming up. Darren, the best of luck. Thanks for your time, and good luck with it as well with the Darren Randolph Academy. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.